Thanks.
I'm a big Metallica fan.
You are? Oh,
Yeah. I've only seen him once. I had to go out to Columbus, Ohio.
Yeah.
I drove out there.
You know, I've never seen him in concert, but my brother went and he said they're just hands down like the best. So, I mean, not maybe. All right. Let's see. So I don't know how she.
We fit it really snug. So
yeah.
we fit
So
it.
I put 2 fingers, so I can get 2 fingers in there. So that's how we show it. This is a busy product. Oh my God, people with it.
Yeah, this is why we like to train here. Like
Yeah.
everything is here. You got dogs, bikes, people, strollers, rollerbladers, skateboarders.
I know. I've always wanted to. It's just the people watching.
So you have your remote?
Yes, I do.
And is this powered on already?
Yes.
All right.
All right. We're ready to go. Okay. Go.
So go ahead and give her a couple of nicks there, tap.
Okay.
And what I'm gonna have you do is lightly pull up your leash and tap. Tap. Good. Right. So when I say tap, press the button,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
So I'm gonna help transfer what they've taught her.
Okay.
We're gonna start with the heel. The heel is the foundation for everything.
Okay.
The heel is the foundation for the reactivity. The heel is the foundation for her learning what e-collar is.
Okay.
And when it comes to using the remote, in my opinion, I always, as much as possible, use the remote while we're conditioning.
Okay.
Because if she gets off leash, that's going to be your only line of communication.
Right.
When we use the leash too much, then you're solely reliant. Well, not solely, but you're relying on the leash tap. Tap, lightly pull up, tap, 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 tap. Does yours have a tone or vibrate?
This one isn't a vibrate. Okay.
Yeah. So go ahead and bump it to 2. Yep. 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 There we go. Right there.
Yeah, because when I put it on 2, she was.
Yeah. So at the facility, 1 is too much.
Okay.
Now we're outside. That's going to change.
Okay.
Now we got more stimuli and stuff like that.
Okay.
So yeah, the more we use the leash, the more we become accustomed to having to need it. And I try to put everything to remote. Okay. So the healing exercise, bends. I'm assuming goes training on the left.
Yeah, you know what? Heel, I haven't really mastered heel with them.
Okay.
Just because I don't think every training program that I put them in, they never really. Like,
Heel's always like the first thing to cover.
That's what I know. That's what I'm thinking because I try to do it myself.
Sure.
Just to, and so heel, he just is not. That's probably one thing I have to go back and.
Okay, so you can actually take what you learned today and apply it to bends. It's very easy. It's just a matter of understanding how to use that according to the context. Okay, so I'm going to explain how we teach it, and then I'm going to have you work with Lexus here.
Okay.
So if we want the dog to line up to our left side, when they pass you, tap, 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 I want you to always default to making a 180 to your immediate right. Okay, so they pass 180.
Bob? We're with the. So we cut across where the baseball.
We're north of the tennis courts.
North of the tennis courts.
On the path.
On the path. So you just have to cut the path. So when you're walking on that path, and the first path you see to your left, just come down that way. Well, we're in the middle of a session, so you'll find us. Just
or Larrabee and
Larrabee, you know. Yes. North of the tennis.
So when Lexus passes, 180 like this, right? Passes, she's gonna go back and forth. Okay, so you're gonna look crazy for a little bit. When we're doing this, we're also simultaneously tap, 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 tap until Lexus lines up, and then you go. She goes, tap, 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 tap. She's here, we relax. Okay. What we're also gonna do is we're gonna give some slack here. I want you to give slack. That's good. And take the handle of your leash and move the handle over your thumb. Good. And then you're going to take that and then just loop it over your pointer finger. And then now close your hand. And now relax. Okay, so now if you look at your leash, the bottom of the loop there is kind of by armpit level. That helps keep it out from under her paws.
Okay.
But it gives you slack so that she makes mistakes. Okay? So you want to always be nice and relaxed. We should never be having to do this. If we're doing this, there's no training, and the training didn't work, or we're doing something incorrect. Okay? So here, you're nice and relaxed. I'm not going to worry about heel right now. I'm just going to have you start walking. Lexus is most likely going to forge. You're just going to turn to your immediate right, and you're going to keep walking as you're remoting to bring your heel. Okay? tap, 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 tap. Here. And I'll coach you through it. Okay? So go ahead and move forward. Yep. And then don't tap here. Relax. Relax. Yep. Forward, tap. Good. Turn. To your right. Yeah, tap. Forward. Good. Go and hug to your right a little bit. Good. And yep. Keep forward. Good. Forward. Now turn. Tap. Tap. Keep going. There you go. And relax. Good. Give that slack back. You're slowly taking it up. Give the slack back. There you go. Yeah, because you want it to be like that. That's nice. Okay? So it's nice and slack, but she's right at your left hip, right? So now, go ahead and hug over to your left as you move forward. And go and cross in like this. Good. Keep forward. Tap. There we go. Now I'm going to have you slow walk. Now stop. Lightly pull up. Tap. And relax. Go ahead and...
Bob? Bob?
Bob?
Want to come over here? Is this something that Vance doesn't do? Yes, it do.
So now she's getting excited, right? Yep.
Well, yeah, Larrabee's that way, so.
Yep.
Okay. Hey.
And you see how she's...
Yes.
Now all over the place, let's go down to 1. Lightly pull up.
She sees Vance.
And relax.
Maybe you should hear.
No, it's fine. This is a good distraction. No, relax. Good, right? So you see how with just pressing the button, she's kind of going into formation?
Yeah.
We've shaped all this stuff. So I don't want you to think that you just zap the dog and the dog does it. We've done conditioning so she knows what to do in response. Okay, she's got a concept. Let's go ahead and bring Benz in a little closer. We'll use him as to our advantage here. We're going to watch Lexus here. Good. So if you look at Lexus, you can see where her tail is wagging. She wants to move forward, but she's understanding because of consequence, if she does, if that's going to happen, she's wanting to avoid the consequence.
Yes, that's very good.
Okay? We'll go ahead and take Benz to the side, or if you'd like to have a seat here, you're more than welcome to. We're going to continue this exercise. Now, right now, when you walk forward, she might tap, up, tap, and relax. Tap, tap, and relax. Good. As you move forward, now that Benz is here, it's going to add tap. Good. It's going to add that variable. Okay, tap. This is good because in real life, you're going to have stuff all over the place. You want to learn how to handle it now. Okay? We're going to go ahead and bump it back up to that 2. And I'm going to have you go ahead and move forward. Yep. Right now here, relax. Turn to your right. Tap, tap, tap. Relax. There you go. Tap forward. Keep walking. Tap, tap, tap. Let's go to 3. Turn. Good. Now forward. So when you're walking, you don't want to do the pull up. You just do the about turn.
Yes, I know that. I have the habit of.
Now right turn. Tap, 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 tap. There she goes. Good. Keep forward. You got it. Keep forward. Good. Tap forward. Good. Now relax. Keep walking. Good. Slow turn to your right. Keep forward. Okay, go ahead and hug to the right a little bit. And if she starts to do this,
yeah,
just keep moving and power through with your body. Okay, so don't be afraid to bump her. Bump, there you go. Because she wants to go to Ben's and she's getting now turn. Yep. Okay. Yeah, keep forward. There we go. Slow turn to your right. She turns with you, nothing here. Now slow walk and stop. Right. There you go. And relax. Good. Okay, so you can see here, she's looking for Ben. I think I just saw him cross over. There he is. He's over there, right? You can see like she's interested in what's going on. This is part of the reactivity. Okay, so right now she's engaged with Ben. Even though he's left the picture, she's still thinking, where is he? But also just on walking, this kind of vigilance is what leads to reactivity. Okay? So this tap, let's go down to 1. Yeah, there
Sorry
you go.
about that. Okay.
And then give slack back again. Okay, so we have to break old habits, right? Because a lot of people are used to that. So here, with everybody walking, shouldn't get lunging and barking. Like I remember the first day when you dropped her off, very reactive, right? So now, because it wasn't so much that she was being bad. Okay, bad and good is a human concept. It's what they can do and what they can't do, what you agree with and what you don't agree with. Okay, that's how a dog is. So we use the e-collar to teach foundational heel, and because we have a good solid heel, we shouldn't see reactivity. Okay, cap here, because she kept looking to the left. So we're saying don't worry about what's open. Okay, so the e-collar can be both a teaching tool, do this, do this, do this, and also a correctional tool. Don't do this, don't do that, don't do that. Okay? So right now we told her don't look that way because we're preventing her from escalating. They wait for it. Now I'm going to do something about it, right? So here we want that control first so that we don't even see it in the first place. Okay, that's the best way to do it. What's preventative. Okay? If she should become reactive because you turn the corner and you're surprised, that's where I go into tapping and just bumping it just to stop the reactivity. I don't really care if she yelps or not, because if you try to worry about that and try to keep it as fair as possible, you're going to have a really hard time addressing it. I just want to stop it as soon as possible. Okay? Tap on one. There you go. Right? And you're on one now? You're on two. Okay. So we're adjusting that number according to her and what's going on in the environment. So when Ben was here, we needed 3. We took Ben's up the picture. Now we're at a 2, possibly at a 1. Right? Before we came, we were at a 1. So these are things you want to get used to as well. You go to a new park she's never been to before, she's going to act like she's not trained. It's not that she's not trained, it's that there's greater things that are more interest to her than what you say. So we can make what we say mean more by just bumping that number. Okay? So once you get that down, it's super simple. Okay, once you're like, okay, yeah, I'm at Oz Park, I need 2. Oh, Ben's is in the picture, I need 3. Oh, the squirrel's running all over the place, I need 5, right? And ideally, we're trying to get it without a really big, like, reaction. So what you might find is maybe on 4 she doesn't listen, but on 5 she's super yelpy, and then you're stuck, right? So it's kind of like, all right, well, all we have is a 5. Either she doesn't listen or she does, but she yelps. So you have to kind of take that as part of that process. Does that make sense? This is why I always suggest to people get one that has a lot more levels, because it gives you a lot more leverage or just nuance the fine-tuning to the dog where we don't get that reaction, but we still get the reliability and the obedience that we want. Okay? So now we're going to start adding a bit more formalities. Now we're going to start saying heel. Heel is the cue. Heel is what tells her, now you're doing this. Okay? So technically, if you walk out and you don't say anything to Lexus, she can do whatever she wants. The moment you cue heel, that's when this turns on. So should Lexus pass you, that's when you would correct and turn, okay? Because at that time, like heel is walk with me, stay with me, sit with me. It's a package of things. Her right shoulder should be parallel to your left leg, so that's your visual, okay? People tend to judge heel by how much the dog doesn't pull. It's not about pulling, it's a very strict right shoulder to left leg. And the way we teach it is exactly what we had you do here. Is every time she passed somebody, they would 180 and remote until she came here. So she thought, oh, this is where I want to be. This is the pocket, this is the safe place, okay? So I'm going to have you choose the word heel, and then you're going to move forward with your left leg first, okay? Go to slow, no stop. Good. Heel, left leg. Heel forward, left leg. Good.
See, she's conditioned.
Go ahead and slow walk. Do a stop. Right. Now, there you go. Very good. So you see how she wanted to shoot a bit, but she tucked in, right? So she's and it's a super simple exercise. That's literally what we did, but it was a lot more because we were teaching it, right? So now what I'm gonna have you do is you're gonna do it 3 more times. Heel, left leg. Now we only say heel when we go from stationary to motion.
Okay.
So once you're stopped, you wouldn't say heel again For the sit, it's all implied on the first one. When you come to a stop, she automatically gets that butt down. Okay? Whenever you're ready.
You.
We'll do a slow turn. Slow to a fast. Okay, relax. Good. Now I'm not going to care about this right now. Just 5 days in, like we have to pick and choose battles. I always care about this first and just putting the butt down. Okay? My heel.
Heel.
Good, and relax. Good, pick up your pace a little bit. Now slow walk, and slower, and stop. Right there and relax. Good. So did you see that shift? How she matched you, right? Yes. So heel is, again, like your shadow, glued to you. That's how we teach it, okay?
I think that was a compliment. It's just not the understanding concept of it, or I was thinking more pulling, but then it's not. I mean, I understand she's got to be right next to me, but I never mastered it with Ben, so I just was never down to that. It was a concept that I didn't feel was practical. Because I knew this canine situation. They would be like, say anything about canine.
Oh, really? That's fun.
Yeah, it's fun. It's practical.
That's why I did a video recently on heel. A lot of trainers don't know how to teach it. And the perception of what heel is most part wrong, right? Because people go by the dog not pulling that much, but it's a very strict exercise. And now that you have Lexus, you need it because of the reactivity. Okay, so all our reactivity cases need the heel. That's the reference point for everything. Corrective behaviors, what they're supposed to do. You can't have a dog being like this and doing whatever it wants, and if they have reactive tendencies, like being able to have both. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it's either you stop the reactivity and the dog is here, or they're doing this and they're being reactive, right? In some cases, when you get the dogs that are like this, but they're friendly or they're non-reactive, that's because that's the personality type, right? You have a different personality type here with Lexus. Yep. And then what you can do here, is go down to 1.
That sounds fun.
And you're going to anchor yourself and just pull your left knee forward, yeah. A little bit more forward. And then right there. We're going to take that for now. Because that was a nervous response. The bikes go by. I understand moving her back. But what you're doing is saying don't do that. And eventually what we should see is you'll see her tuck back, but she won't scoot back. Okay, she'll learn to tolerate the bikes a bit more. Is it all making sense? Good. So I'm going to have you do another 2 heel to stops, and I'm also going to have you add some pace changes. Okay. Now, anytime you stop, anytime you turn, slow down. Okay. You drive. What do you do before you stop? Yeah. And what does that do? Slow down. What do you do before you turn? Slow down, right? That's the brake. Because if you're going too fast and you turn, you're going to flip your car. Or if you brake too fast, the person behind you is not going to have time. You're going to have a collision, right? Same thing for Lexus here. Think of driving. Anytime you stop, you're going to slow down. Anytime you turn, you're going to slow down as well. That's why that turn was so smooth. I'm having you do things that allow her to tune into what you're doing and be able to follow your lead, okay? So it's not just train the dog, they do everything. This is a conversation. Your body is saying what you're doing, and Lexus is now paying attention because of remote. And those 2 things in conjunction is what's making it very smooth. Okay? So go ahead and heel. Good. Go ahead and slow turn. Exactly. Now here, she turns, you put it in your pace. Touch the right a little bit. Good. Going to slow walk again. Slow down to a stop. Amen. There she goes. Very good. One more. little faster. Now slow. Yep, keep going. Slower. And slow to stop. Very good. See that? So e-collar, when done well, transfers very quickly. It's just knowing what's going to be the appropriate number according to the context. Okay? Does this make sense? So she's question.
Yes. No.
No. So she's learned a couple other things. So this is one of them. So do you feel like you got a good concept of what heel is?
I've got to practice. Yeah, and like I said, I had the wrong concept of it, and you know, like when I would take bends and I would use the word, it was just slow him down when he was pulling in front of me. So now it's.
Yeah. No. Heel means boom. Exactly. There is no slowing down or anything like that. From this point going forward, if you're walking Lexus with that e-collar, should she get ahead of you, you will always do that 180 turn and remote. If you find, like let's say you're using this throughout the week, and Lexus gets progressively worse, and you're like, man, this is not like it was at Oz Park, you're too low. Okay, that's almost always the problem, is you're too low, or you're now tightening the leash. Okay, a lot of people do that subconsciously. So when you shorten your leash and you pull back, you're actually promoting more pulling. Pulling back on a dog says pull more. Okay, so if you do this and you're remoting, you have conflicting messages. This is saying don't pull, this is saying pull, and dogs will always listen to this. Okay, so you want to make sure that we're relaxed. Always look at your leash. Make sure you have that nice little loop there, right? And like let's say you're going to pass by a dog who doesn't look so friendly. Okay, my suggestion is you just step aside. She should sit. You can shorten your leash a little more just in case if she responds to that dog's energy. She's not going to get far. Let them pass, let your slack go, heel, and then you move again. Okay, so you're being proactive, because trying to walk at this stage, trying to walk with Lexus past something like that is going to be too difficult for the hand. Okay, so it's easiest for everybody when we're dealing with reactivity in the beginning is to just step aside. You want to face the stimulus, because that's real life. She's going to see them. Shorten our leash, we're ready with our remote in case something happens. Should she become reactive, your instinct should always be to go straight up. Never back, never up and back, okay? Up de-escalates, back escalates. And then you press your button until she stops. One doesn't work, then we go to two. Two doesn't work, we go to three. Three doesn't work, we go to four, and then keep going, okay? Just be mindful that because she's in an agitated state, if you're going high and you go too high, we get what we call redirected aggression. Okay, the dog's so frustrated, and you're trying to get them to cut it out. They go to the nearest thing, which is going to be the handle. Okay, so typically, if we're going higher, you'll see me be like this, where I'm pulling up and I'm away from the dog. So we call it up and away, just in case the dog tries to go for something. We're not in their vicinity, and if they try to go up, well, my hand will go up with them. They can't reach me. Okay, if that were to happen, my suggestion would be you stop with the remoting, just hold her away, let it pass. Dip down, settle her with a couple of taps, kind of like this, right? With what we did with bends, heel, and then you pick it up again, okay? And I'm giving you like a crash course, right? Because you get just a couple of lessons with the 10-day. But that's the main gist of that exercise, okay? Questions about any of that?
No, I have a general question. So now, is that something that you sort of, is it a permanent thing for, I mean, eventually you want the dog to, practically want to be able to learn to walk without sort of a leash, or is that something that you should put in place, or it's in place for the dog members?
So, in my opinion, when you need it, you have it, okay? So you can't account for life, other off-leash dogs, somebody blowing up a firework and scaring her, a car backfiring. I had someone before they started training, they were walking with their dog and a bicyclist crashed right behind them and it spooked the dog, and the dog took off, pulled the leash out their hand and ran for blocks. And he had his daughter. So he couldn't like just run after the dog. So he had to go take home his daughter, and then they went on a hunt for the dog, right? That's life. So for me, it's like you have it, but it's not you're always doing it, right? Like right now, you've not had to do much. It's getting progressively less because now she's transferring everything, right? On YouTube, like, or on the internet, you'll find dogs with the trainers that aren't on e-collars or whatever, and they're doing great. And I would say, look at the environment. It's usually a bland environment. Two, if they are in an environment like this, it's usually not that good in terms of the response. Okay, people don't see these things. So dogs aren't like humans where they learn skills and they just naturally apply them. They apply them when you can reinforce it. Okay, so I look at the e-collar as a cop on a collar. You know, most people don't go the speed limit on the expressway, but when they see a squad car, all of a sudden everybody's listening, right? Same thing for dogs. That's her cop. So she's like, oh, mom has that cop on. I have to heel, I have to be beside mom, no reactivity. You know, it's opportunistic behavior. It has nothing to do with the level of training. It has nothing to do with my skills as a trainer or your skills as a handler. It's just the way of the world. You know, just like kids. I don't know if you've seen that challenge where like, don't eat this, I'll be right back, and when I get back you can have it. And they're gone and some of the kids are eating it, right? It's opportunistic behavior. So it's that's my opinion. I have had clients progress past the e-collar, but I still tell them if something happens, you don't have that control. Because there's obedience when everything is fine, but then there's when there's an emergency. And that's the difference. Okay? Other questions? Make sense? Very good. So now we're going to work with the place command. Are you familiar with place?
Yes.
With very well. Okay, so she knows that as well. Okay. So we have a place command here. So go ahead and tell her to heel. So when we do place at the facility, they'll do up to like 3-4 hours, you know, depending on what's going on, what the schedule is for the day and stuff. So durationally, it's for as long as you need it for. Okay. We like to use place for my clients when they want to have control of the dog, but not have to be so tuned into what the dog is doing. So like the down command is very specific. It's lay down, don't move, right? And I don't care how they lay down. They can be on their hip, they can be on the back, but just lay down, right? Very strict, no exception, no standing, no sitting. With place, it's go there, stay there for the next 2 hours, sit, stand, lay down, go on your back, I don't care, play with the toy, but just do not step off of the area itself, okay? So, most trainers teach it as place, and they walk the dog all the way over. We don't train it that way, because you're doing a lot of the work. Okay? I try to make things as easy as possible for the owner. So what we do is we'll stand about this distance, you're gonna say place, and you're gonna remote, and you have just a tiny bit of pressure, and Lexus should just pop on without you needing to do anything. Okay? Now the reason why I like this approach is because ideally we want to be anywhere within the home and say place, and the dog will just go.
Yeah.
So if we're always leading them there like this, that becomes part of the plan. We always have to do that. Like training wheels, right? So I like to progress right off the bat. We don't do any training wheels. We're right here. You can figure that out. Boom. And then at home, if you're wanting a greater send, then you start practicing it from greater distances. You start at 3 feet, go to 4, to 6, to 8, to 10, and you want to do some different directions. Because dogs do not just generalize place and will go from anywhere. So if you always send from here, and then one day you decide to send from here, she'll act like she doesn't know, because she literally doesn't know. The picture is completely different for her. Okay, so just keep that in mind. So go ahead and just you'll say heel, you'll come to a stop about right here, and if you can turn in a bit, that'd be great. And then you're going to say place, and then you're going to tap with a little bit of guidance going towards the area. Okay. Girl, right there. Good, right? And then you're going to turn like this, and you're going to say heel, forward.
Heel.
There you go. And I'll have you do like a slow turn, you'll come back, you'll stop before the bed and repeat. And you got a bite coming, just so you know. Good. Now what we're going to do here is we're going to add one step. When you go for that heel and you're going to present her to the bed, stop first and let the sit happen. Wait a moment and then send. Because what will happen is she'll start to anticipate, right? So you want to add a little gap to really differentiate from her that now I'm sending you. Okay? Try it again.
Heel.
Good turn. Relax your arm. Then slow to stop. Yeah, so now turn. Turn, tap. There you go. Yep.
All right, take
Yep.
heel.
Yep, there you go. Now relax. You're going to wait a moment.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
jumped at that. Okay.
Now place.
Heel place.
Very good. And I vary that time in between the commands, because if you wait 3 seconds and then send, she will learn that 3-second time frame. Okay, we're gonna do that 2 more times.
Heel.
Right. Good, better. Now wait. Now send.
Face.
Excellent. So we're doing this next one. You're gonna do a heel again. You're gonna present her. You're gonna wait a moment, and then you're gonna say heel and a walk. Okay. She might shoot forward, anticipating you're gonna place her. So we're gonna throw her for a loop. You would remote her to correct her back to your side, and then you would send on the second time. Okay.
Heel.
Well, go ahead and take up a little bit of slack. There you go. There you go. Yeah. Excellent. Right, now turn, Cap. So when she forges, what you will do is when she goes to shoot, just turn to the side and start tapping to redirect her to your leg again. Try that again. Good. So instead of placing, heel, then turn to your right.
Heel.
There you go. Good. And on the next one, you'll set. Wait. Ready?
Place. Place.
Tap, tap. A little bit more pressure. Tap. You got a dog behind you. That's fine.
Place. Place.
Tap, 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 tap. Go to 2. Tap, 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 tap. Tap, tap. 3. Tap, tap, tap. Right. A little bit of leash pressure.
Okay.
And then towards the bed. Tap, tap, tap. Yep. Go to 4. Tap, tap, tap. So you want to go forward, and you're going up. There you go. Tap,
Place.
tap.
Come on. Place.
There you go. And what's your number now?
We're on 4.
So what you had is that. Right here. Okay, that dog was right there. So that's why that was a struggle. Okay, tap.
Yeah, this I use it for her barking too because that gets out of hand.
Good, and tap again. Tap. Go to 5. Tap. Tap.
Get
6.
something, but
Yeah, now it's tap. Tap. Right there. Okay, so what I'm going to point out here.
it's cool how it switched. I mean, how I had to go from 1 and 2.
Oh, up here. Okay. So I like, this is why we train here, because you get everything, okay? So she went from woof, right, too close, so we were gradually going up, and then she barked because the dog was still in her line of sight, and most people would say, well, she's not barking anymore, but she was still like this,
Yeah.
right? So if we leave that unresolved, that becomes more reactivity, okay? So we went 2, 3, 4, 5, and then all of a sudden you start to see her do this, right? That movement was her going, this is a concern. I don't like where this is at. And then we got the turnaround. This is disengagement from what she was staring at, okay? So we're in that sense, we're going into behavior mode. So we have obedience and we have behavior, okay? Think of obedience as education. Math, English, science, sit, stay, come. Think of behavior, don't jump, don't bark, don't bite. Like morality, don't lie, don't steal, don't cheat. So just because someone's a genius doesn't mean they're gonna be a good person. And we can have someone who's a very good person, but maybe not the smartest person, right? They don't correlate. So here, she was on place, so she was doing the obedience, but we were disagreeing with the behavior. Does that make sense? So obedience, yes, can be, there's a little bit of overlap, like for the heel, it's preventative so that we don't see reactivity, okay? But if something is concerning enough for her, she'll say, screw your heel, I'm gonna bark. And then we go into, that's not allowed, but you have to have a power that's gonna be high enough to shut it down, okay? Consequence. So as humans, we have laws, and the consequences for breaking those laws is according to what that is that you did, right? You steal Snickers, probably not the biggest deal, right? You steal $1 million from a federal bank, you're going to prison, right? So Same thing for Lexus. And dog logic is different from human logic. Okay, you might think that was a very subtle just woof, right? Why do I need to go past 2? Because she's not stopped. You go to 5, and then because you're thinking logically, but that's 5 out of 7. And I go, yes, but once you hit that 5, she turned around and completely disengaged. So that's what she needed according to her logic. Okay, so once you can see, I like to think of it as math, right? Because it's just stimuli and then your power, right? And this needs to either match or override this to get this to stop, or get her to not mind this. Okay, it's all making sense. Questions so far? So, and then you can always watch it too. So if you ever forget anything, you can always refer to your own video. So here, the place command is meant for durational work. So let's say she's being a brat, and you're trying to get work done. You just place her. You at this stage would want her to stop. In case she breaks off, you have something to catch her and help guide her back on. Should we see Lexus try to sneak off, you'll see the dog will be laying down, and then they start to do these things, and they're slowly stretching off. You would correct the moment you see it. Don't wait for her to already be halfway off, right? And don't verbally warn, because a lot of people do that. They go no, right? And the dog goes back, but then you're saying no 100 times a day. I go straight to the remote. So the dog goes, crap, there's no more warnings now. It's just, if you do it, I'm gonna bite, right? Because that remote, that's our bite. So if you start to see her sneaking off, maybe I tap her on a 2, and she fixes herself. And then she doesn't do it for the rest of the time. Perfect, 2 worked within that moment. But let's say the next day there's something going on, maybe Benz has something, she's like, ooh, I really want to see what Benz has. And you need 5 to get her to stay on the mat, right? Again, it's just that math that you're doing to get her to be compliant. Does that make sense? Excellent. Questions about this?
No. This is very important because she's very bonkers at home, and so for me to just keep her in place someplace, she understands that command is very helpful. Because I will tell them, the cat's running around this place, she goes to this place, and lets the cat,
doing his thing.
Because she can't coexist.
Gotcha. Now, what you may find here is, let's say, going back to the stimuli and the level of importance of the obedience, right? That maybe the cat's running around and you're doing 7, and she's like, no, I want to chase the cat more, and you're gonna need more than 7, right? So then what you could potentially do is, when she breaks off of it, then you have to shift gears, because it's not so much returning her to place, it's teaching her that chasing the cat is not allowed.
Right.
And then you're on 7, and now you're correcting her, much like reactivity, for chasing the cat. So then she thinks, crap, I tried to chase the cat, and I got a very harsh correction for it, not worth my time, I'm just gonna go back and then resort to place, right? So then, once you override the behavior, all of a sudden, obedience is now effective, because the dog tried it and was corrected for the behavior itself, so now it's no longer worth doing, okay?
So as far as this goes, I should avoid having her yelp. So if she yelps, I can just turn it down.
Ideally, yes, right? But let's say you're at 6, she's not responding, and at 7, she's responding, but she's yelping. It is what it is, okay? That's the drawback to the 7 levels, okay? So as long as you don't have an issue with it, I ultimately don't care. The only thing that I would say is, let's say you're on a walk and it's the same problem. She doesn't listen on 2, but she's yelping on 3, but she's listening. But then people are going to come in and go oh my God, what are you doing to your dog? Right now you got to worry about people. Okay, so that's the tricky part to it. But welcome to having a dog in the city of Chicago.
And she's a different dog than my other dog, so I think this would be very useful for with the cat, because she will just tear her to shreds, and I just don't want any injuries in the home. I think this will help. So,
Yes.
So I've been using it in the morning, just to stop her from barking, because she just barks. She'll smell a dog, walks away, or she barks because she wants to come inside. So when she stops barking, before I engage the e-collar, I would just let her bark, and then when she stopped barking, then I would let her go inside. So this would be good for her.
Yeah, so it's actually easiest just to apply aversive. Aversives are meant to stop things. So the approach of when the dog quiets and you reward, in my opinion, doesn't work. The dogs don't think like that. It's either I bark and you let it happen, or I bark and you don't let it happen, right? So what I'll do is I'll send you an email, and if you don't get it, please email me back, or send me a message like Jesse sent me those videos. It's what's called a bunker, so that you're not solely reliant on the e-collar all the time within the home. It's just a rolled up towel, and you literally use it to bump the dog. Okay, so it shows you how to make one, how to use one, and a trainer actively using one. So anything within the home, technically including chasing the cat, it can be applied to, because it's just don't do that. Okay, so it's like a human version of biting the dog without actually having to bite the dog, right? So that you're not having to always use this. Now, if you feel that she might has a predatory drive towards the cat, my suggestion would be you muzzle her when you're going to work on this. Okay? Yes, definitely want to muzzle, correct fitted muzzle, because if she gets the cat and it is with intent, this may not kick in fast enough, or while you're thinking in the process, you may not be quick enough to get her to stop before the damage is done.
I mean, my thought on that is she's still got her paws and she's still got her body weight, so that muzzle's not going to do it when she gets a hold of that cat.
Right,
so,
but the muzzle, that's where the power is. Okay, and if your cat, how old's your cat?
They're the same age.
Same age?
2 days apart.
And if your cat's got good spunk and swats her and makes her yelp and run away, good. Now she's done the homework. I've seen that happen, where I'll tell the owners, like, put the muzzle on and see what the cat does, and the cat will whip the dog's butt. And the dog just naturally won't leave the cat alone, because they know I tried to go after you and you won. You beat me up. So now that we don't even need to do anything, right? So we can potentially do that. But even though it's like the body weight and stuff, it's usually a pounce and trap, as opposed to let me try to like body slam you and squash you with my body weight. Okay, it's really the mouth that does all the damage. Okay.
I mean, there have been many instances where the cat's running around the house and she's only like 4 pounds, so but she will escape and run underneath the couch so she doesn't get her. So
sure.
She's the, but
and you would correct all that stuff, like any kind of looking for the cat.
Yes.
Like if the cat comes out,
she's in a different mode when the cat's around. She's like, predatory. It is predatory. It's like, vicious. Get you, cat.
So as soon as you see her show interest, you correct right there. Don't wait for the extreme. So if the cat walks by and she perks up, boom. What you're saying is you don't even care what the cat does, period. So, and it will look very similar to this, right? Where she barked and you escalated, and eventually she just turned around and relaxed. That was complete disengagement. You want to create that as well with the cat. And what you'll start to see, once you put in good corrections, is she'll see the cat and she'll just naturally turn around and go, I don't want anything to do with it. Okay? And potentially that's like the precursor to coexistence, where she can learn to co-inhabit or coexist within the home with the cat being present. Okay? Questions about that? So we're gonna do one more command. Pretty simple stuff, right? So make sure you just have your leash on in this phase, but she can do upwards of 2 to 3 hours, even longer if you wanted. If she's being very bratty, again, it just comes down to that number. As soon as you reach that number where she's like, holy crap, I don't want to question mom anymore, all of a sudden she's not going to move for 2 hours. Okay, very simple. I'll go ahead and put her in a heel, and then you'll circle around. I'll have you stop about the middle of the sidewalk here.
Okay.
Yeah, and adjust your number as well.
Heel.
Relax your arm. Good. You do a slow turn. Come to a stop. Okay. Last thing we're going to cover here is the stay. The way I employ the stay is different than other trainers. If I say sit, down, or place, stay is implied. Okay? That's all you did was place, and the whole time we had a conversation, we never said anything else. She did not move from it. Okay? Yeah. So we only use stay when the dog is already in position. So right now, what command is Lexus in? Not a sit. What's the last thing you said? Not stay. What's the last word you said to her?
Heel.
Heel. Okay.
I don't even know if I said that. I probably just did.
You did say it.
Okay.
Heel, remember, it's package, walk with me, stay with me, sit when I stop. But it's not a sit. It's built into the heel.
So when we stop right now, I make a turn, I just hit the button and pull up a little bit. But I don't think I said heel. Did I say heel?
No. You said heel to start, remember?
Okay,
from stationary to motion.
Okay.
Yes. And when you come to a stop, this should happen automatically. If it doesn't, you wouldn't say sit. You would simply remote, she doesn't. Okay? So that's what makes it still a part of the heel. So if you started moving again, Lexus's inclination would be to move with you. Because sit means sit, don't move. Okay? So if you move now, she would. So it's not a sit, it's a heel. Okay? And it's a little nuanced, but once you get the concept, it's super simple. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna tell Lexus here not to move. So with your left hand, because that's the one closest to her, you're simply gonna do it just like this, and you're gonna say stay.
Stay.
And then you're gonna pivot out and turn like this, and you're gonna be facing Lexus, okay? Now when you do this turn, I want you to anticipate that she may wanna follow you. So you wanna be ready that when you're turning, if she gets up, you're gonna pull up, you're not gonna say anything, you're gonna tap, she puts her butt down, and then you go back to moving in front of her. Okay, so one more time, you do the stay, pivot out, ready for her to get up. If not, you're good. Back to her side, heel. Okay? Go ahead and stay.
Stay.
There you go. And then back to her side. Tap. Yep, there you go. That's okay. And now you're going to say heel.
Heel.
And then forward. And remember that left leg forward.
Yeah, sorry, messed up.
Yeah. I'm trying to keep it simple, but it's a lot of body coordination.
Exactly.
Go to slow turn. Good job. And you're going to walk past the place mat. There we go. So she's going to go there. Very good. Slow to stop. Good. You got bites coming, just so you know. Good. One more. Good. And then when you do that wave, just in front of her eyes, and then stay.
Stay.
There you go. Now you're going to pivot out, and you want to be facing in front of Lexus. Okay. With the right leg. There you go. Up, tap, and relax. Good. Now back to her side. Very good. Let's do that 3 more times. Heel. Left leg. There you go.
Right-handed, so.
Good turn. Good turn. Again, slow to stop. That's okay. And the girl, stay.
Stay.
Yep. Girl, back to her side. 2 more.
Yep.
Good job. Yep. Keep that arm relaxed. Good. Good turn. Yep. Good job. Stop when you're ready. Good. Stay.
Stay.
Very good. One more.
Heel.
Right. Good girl. Good.
Stay.
Excellent. Okay.
No, yeah, that's the thing. So obviously I've trained with different trainers. And
Yeah.
So one trainer, the first one I used for this, didn't want to use stay at all. It was confusing, and they said once they're going to sit, just tell them to sit. That's just use the sit. But I feel like stay is used. It's used.
Yeah.
I mean,
I agree with the trainer in the sense that I don't say play. I don't say stay with place, sit, or down. Because the dog's like that's the command.
Yes.
Do it and don't move.
Exactly.
But here, this isn't a sit. It's a heel. So if you move, she would want to move with you, right? So human logic says you can't say sit because you're already doing it. So then stay means now you're in position. So if like Lexus laid on the bed on her own accord, and you decided I don't want you to move, well, you would. I've even had trainers tell my clients to remove the dog and then send them to do the command, right? Which I get. Or now I just go stay. Now it becomes a place command. Does that make sense? So everybody has their own theory, right? In my opinion, and in my experience, I've trained a lot of other trainers' dogs. I've had people with 3 to 4 trainers before, and then they come to me, and all of a sudden the dog's being compliant and listening, right? Because of how I teach and how the dog learns, okay? we teach the way dogs learn. There's just a lot of stuff you read on treats and food and all this stuff, and then again how people think themselves. Most of it, in my opinion, is wrong. Somebody the other day was telling me something about like the book in science. I'm like, well, the book is wrong. Science is wrong. I'm telling you that right now. Because if it was right, there wouldn't be so many screwed up dogs. Because a lot of trainers follow science. Does that make sense? I don't follow science. I just follow common sense and how dogs learn. And that's why we only had it for 5 days.
I know.
And she knows more stuff too, but we only have enough time to cover so many things right today. But yeah, she's already learned to recall. She knows the sit. She's done duration work. She does 2 to 3 hours. She does the heel. Reactivity was done, within the first day. You've not seen that because you weren't doing it remotely. But now you have the remote. Now you have the skill set. Now you're going to see the progress. Okay. But yeah, it's fine. So that's why right away when I saw her with company head start and stuff, I'm like, I'm not even gonna waste her time and money because that's just how I am. Like I see stuff and I know you're one thing. And I really want to be an unhappy customer and say like, hey, this is what I was hoping for, but this dog's still having issues, right? That's why we had that call. Here we are, much better, great progress. Okay, questions?
No, I think for me, I'm sad for the one that's trained because I find my coordination. But it's what's practical for me.
Right.
It's what I think that's it's the pragmatic. So
sure.
And what makes sense to me, and so. But she's a different dog. So
excellent.
This I feel like a good thing that I kept this because like I said, because I didn't use it. It seems like for her,
for me,
it's out of that phase. And who knows? After she gets spayed, I don't know what time it's going to be.
Right. They mature year to year, things like that.
They go through emotional stages throughout their lives. So
yeah.
I feel like now Ben's is going through those emotional stages, and I'm training again because now I have the presence of another dog in the house.
Right.
It's chewing on toys that he never used to have an interest in.
Sure.
So no questions, but that's fine. It has to be practical.
For sure. That's why I tell people like, what do you want and need? Like when we do daycare and training, we teach everything because we have the capacity to do so. But when I know what's going to be important for what you're dealing with, right? So that's why we're going to cover those topics so that you can start applying them, and you will apply them because they're useful to you. If it's like, I don't need the dog to do this, then I go, then we don't even worry about it because it's just a waste of time. I'd rather you learn more about a topic that you will actively use, okay? So your homework would be now start applying the heel. Every walk, so it's easy, so you start with the potty break, and then do your heel. My theory is, or my personal preference is 80% work and 20% play. So if it's an hour-long walk, 45 minutes is a heel, 15 minutes is you can have your free time, whatever, okay? And you can do 5 minutes of free time, structure, 5 minutes of break time, structure, 5 minutes of break time at the end. Or you can do structure, walk, heel, break time of 15 minutes, structure, walk, heel, we go home, okay? You divide it up however you want because your dog becomes what you practice with them. If you practice loose and do whatever you want type of walking, you get a dog that does what they want, okay? Dogs thrive with structure. This is why it's such a quick turnaround. Discipline is healthy when applied correctly. And then if you have any questions, you can always reach out. We also do, I'm not sure if you're aware, we do pack walks every Saturday morning.
I did see that, yes.
Yeah, so we were there too. We just came from there at 8 a.m. and stuff. So if like going forward, you have a couple of questions, it's free. You just come on out. It's to help clients that have reactive dogs or dogs that are antisocial. People that just want to learn and ask questions, or like others that are just like, I have a couple of simple questions and they don't need a full-on session, and they can just stop by and then check in with everybody, talk to them, any questions, here's some things that I see that you can improve on. So I do it kind of as my kind of charity, weekly charity work to help people out and stuff. So you're always welcome to attend those. And then if you have any questions about this stuff, just shoot me an email. I will say, expect that when you're trying to walk home, she's going to forge a bit. Because now she's thinking, oh, we're going home, I'm tired of this game, right? All it is bump that number, do your correctional turns, and it should be no problem, okay? Anything else? Yep. Oh, for the stay, in terms of practicing it, if you hit a red light, stay, practice at a red light. After she poops, you can pull up, tap her into a sitting position, give the stay, pick up the poop. That's good. Right? Because a lot of times when people are doing this, the dog is munching and barking because they don't see anything.
She eats it. Because I always taking her food away from her, and so she wasn't getting it. So like this morning, she snuck. I went to get a bag, but it's my fault. It's always my fault. It's never the dog's fault. It's my fault. I should keep her the bag like goodbye. But she went, she grabbed a piece, and I said, oh man, I didn't have the phone.
Yeah, and what I would do, if it's like in the yard or something, I cap that at 7. So when she goes to eat the poop, it's a very harsh correction from the get-go, as opposed to trying to take your time and then she just, because they'll eat it very quickly to avoid the correction. So, but you know,
But she's a puppy, so I mean, I just want to stop it. I don't want her to.
yeah.
But I feed her more, so and I put some probiotics with her.
What food is she eating?
She's eating, it's a subscription food called Farmer's Dog, but then I also give her like some natural food that I just make.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah, I've seen her food. That's right.
Yeah, like babies, apples, chicken. So.
Sure. I have a pet nutritionist if you want to learn more about proper dieting, because dogs, there is specific nutrients and stuff. Tap. Go ahead and tap, and then bump it. And then you're going to lightly pull forward. Tap. Get forward. There you go. Up. Because what happened there is you did the corrections good. Tap one more time. But she kept staring at them. And now she's down to look the opposite way. Okay. So there we go. That's fine. So we always want to make sure we follow through 100%. And that allowing her to tuck behind you is essentially allowing that nervous behavior. And if you start to notice that pattern of staring before the bark, you would correct the staring. Okay? So good job today. You have your homework. If you'd like the complimentary pet nutrition consult, just shoot me an email and I'll put you in touch with Maddie. She's great. She's helped a lot of people out. And then, yeah, because dog diet, because kibble is like formulated to whatever it is that they need, even though there's some really crappy ones. But if you're doing raw food or like human food cooked, whatever, there's some stuff that I recommend that you, I would say, educate yourself on, and it's complimentary. So maybe you'd like to set that up, okay? So you have your homework. If you have any questions, let us know. And then Maria said something about your schedule changing.
Yeah, so they're supposed to let me know today my job if I'm going to be out in the suburbs. They said for 2 weeks, but it might be until the end of the month. So,
Okay.
I mean, I want her to be consistent. I don't want to break her off because I won't get home until later. Bob gets home late. So
Sure. If you end up like,
I'm trying to tell them, you know, I really don't want to be out in Woodfield. So, but it's just not something I'm looking forward to. But they should let me know where they are by tomorrow.
okay. Because the other thing is, let's say, like if you do a month, for instance, where you have to go and you can't bring her, it won't be detrimental to you. It happens all the time. The way that we teach, it really doesn't have an impact. And it would give you a month to practice this stuff. She would finish off the last 5 days, and then you'd schedule that next lesson to learn to recall and everything else that she's learned. So technically, it won't inhibit the training, just so you know. But you do want to practice this stuff so that she doesn't lose it during that time frame where we won't be seeing. Okay? Awesome. Good job. It was a pleasure seeing you, Yasmin.
Yeah, you too. Likewise.